Well, folks, it looks like 2026 is starting off strong with some drama. Much needed drama. Yeah, who's ever saying that? But it looks like G.Skill was in some hot water for a while that I didn't know about, and now they finally settled that lawsuit. Let's get into this. Hi everyone, it's your boy Lock Tech buying in with some more tech news. Hope you had an awesome day so far. Now, finally getting some juicy articles because we had like a stagnant phase because I was gone for a while doing, real life stuff. But I came across some juicy articles. Another one that I came across was from the popular memory manufacturer G.Skill. Now, everyone knows G.Skill because everyone loved the Trident Z Royal and all those fancy RAMs that G.Skill made. And overall, back in the day, they made good RAM, and I don't remember having any issues recently. But unfortunately, I had an ongoing lawsuit that was going on for a couple of years regarding falsely advertising memory speeds on their DDR5 kits. But they were on a lawsuit. The article didn't go into details of who the lawsuit was with, but they had a lawsuit, maybe a civil lawsuit, because they were called up multiple times, apparently over the last year or two, I think, for falsely advertising their memory speeds with the DR5 kits. And now some were saying that the box or packaging said like the 6,000 mega transfers or 5,000 mega transfers or whatever, but it was really below. It was like 3,600 megahertz DDR4 speeds. So that was the thing they were called out for. I believe, don't quote me on that. I'll leave the article down below so you could double check. But I think that's what the article was stating. And there's some other implications that they mentioned in that article. And it looks like this was an ongoing thing, and it looks like they finally settled the lawsuit, but yet they're still not taking any accountability for false advertising. Of course, big companies are always going to be denied first and ask questions later. So they were still in denial, even though they settled a $2.4 million lawsuit, y'all. $2.4 million lawsuit for falsely advertising memory speeds on their DDR5 kits and their DDR4 kits. That's what I meant to say earlier. It was DDR4 and DDR5 that they got slapped for with a lawsuit, that we're not given like the proper speeds that was supposed to be, that was shown on the box or whatever. So they decided, you know what, we can't take this heat anymore. Let's just pay the funds or the fee for the lawsuit so we can move on with our life. Now, even though it wasn't as big a story like how the memory shortage and all that crap has been going on recently, it still kind of slid on my radar at least, or maybe some of y'all radars it slid on there as well. But we never like to be, us as consumers, we don't expect a reputable brand like G.Skill to kind of sharp changes when it comes to false advertising measurements or metrics on their products. So be there, I feel especially sorry for any non-tech savvy people that are new to computer gaming or whatever, that don't know how to do double checks and whatever when they get their parts, and they just want to get gaming and play with their friends or whatever. So my sympathies goes out to those people who were deceived by G.Skill through this thing that stood under the radar with a RAM kit. And especially if with the way RAM is now expensive as hell, we really don't want, we're already paying an arm and a leg and a liver for the RAM kits now, even as small as 32 gigs for DDR5. And now things are like triple and quadruple in some areas, especially G.Skill and Corsair that I've seen others too, but G.Skill and Corsair seem to jack their prices up the most from what I've seen, out to all the major memory manufacturers. So it looks like everyone lost their mind when Micron left the market for memory and went straight to data center stuff. So every RAM company seems to lost their mind now. So things are upwards of $400, $500, $600 plus now for the regular ass DDR5 kits. But my sympathies goes out to those who were deceived, unfortunately, by this unfortunate false advertising by G.Skill that they're still denying. Hopefully you get some of that $2.4 million that they settled for, because you usually class action lawsuits for people who are victimized by it. You just do some paperwork and you get like a fee or whatever for a piece of that money that the company settled for. So hopefully those who did get fooled by it or deceived by it, or were in that situation with the G.Skill memory for DDR4 or DDR5, hopefully y'all manage to get y'all class action lawsuit paperwork in the mail and manage to fill it out so you can get some money back from the false advertising that the G.Skill still denying. But this is what I'm talking about, y'all. The market's already a mess, And we don't need any more drama, especially false advertising to add on top of the ridiculous pricing for RAM kits. We don't need any more issues, man. 2026 barely started, and we got all this crap that started like October last year, and it's even worse when this year started now. So God help us all with these PC Master Race people like myself, because things are going wonky right now, and I hope the damn AI bubble pops. Y'all let me know your thoughts about this article and this lawsuit down below, and if you were or knew someone that were a victim of this false advertising after you spend your hard-earned money for this RAM kit from G.Skill. Let me know in the comments below. Until then, this is by Lock Tech signing out.